money changes in our lives so that our lives are a little bit better as a result of doing so. So, Money Mind has launched over the weekend, and I am so proud and pleased about it. Also, a little bit exhausted. And suddenly, the weather in Hong Kong, which is where I'm at, has gone from cold to warm to cold and polluted again. So, it's being as vacillating as a lot of the rest of our life right now, in terms of life, travel, and all of that jazz. Anyway, so it's really, really nice as a result of the weather being grubby and us not knowing when we can travel next. It's really nice to be back on live broadcasting and seeing some of you and talking to you. And thank you so much, everyone who comments over on our Instagram at moneymind.global. I really appreciate reading your comments and thank you so much. I hope that some of the things that we post on our social media over on our Instagram are helpful to some of you in terms of just reminders of applying things in life or asking questions that might be helpful. And I give some examples from my own life there too, like selective spending and how, a lot of people say, oh, don't have coffee and be super frugal. And that is one way to do it. And if that works for you, then that's great. For me, when I started doing selective spending, I realized that I didn't really need to be spending that much on coffees because I was having like Starbucks coffees every day and buying a little snack and stuff. And I don't really like coffee. So for me, it was kind of irrelevant to be buying this thing that I was just sort of buying because it was situational on my way to work at the time and it happened to be there and I tied it into my routine. So it's a very good example of tying something into a routine just because it's on the way or en route. And we can do that to tie in new habits that we actually want that benefit us instead. So what I did was I said, look, I really just don't need to be drinking coffee. I was getting a lot of iced teas actually because I love iced milk tea. And this is before I had sugar sensitivity and stuff like that. So now I can't have sugar anymore. Super lame. But good for my health. My life. Anyhow, the point is that I cut out the coffees, but I buy really expensive sneakers. And the time I was going through the coffees, I wasn't buying the sneakers, but I was sort of like frittering away death by a thousand cuts, a lot of these little expenses that were going out in my life that I actually didn't care about. Like I didn't care enough about the item. I cared obviously that I was frittering away all this money like this, but that was actually back when I first started doing my expense tracking in the budget category and putting this kind of plan, 5-pillar plan of Money Minds into action in my own life. So if you don't know of the 5 pillars of Money Mind, they are money mindsets, savings, budgeting, investing, wills, and legacy. Super simple. And they're really just a checklist, not advice, but just a checklist of what I realized was a really good framework for financial stability. So just check, are your money mindsets good? Yes or no? Are your savings good? Yes or no? Are your budgeting habits good? Yes or no? Are your investing feelings, habits, and general investments good? Yes or no? Wills and legacy, do you have them done? Yes or no? It's very simple yes or no questions on these 5 topics. You can go over to the website moneymind.global. Yeah, it's www.moneymind.global because moneymind.com was taken in like 2000. I don't know what this person's doing with it, but it's definitely like, I want that website. But I can't get it. So we got moneymind.global. There are free samplers over there that you can go and check out these little pillars, these 5 pillars, and see where you are against them. The samplers are 10 minutes. It's recommended to just rush through doing them in between 2 other parts of your day and just check, are your money mindsets good? Are you happy with them? Are your savings good? Happy with them? Are your budgeting habits good? Happy with them? Are your investing habits good? Happy with them? Are your wills and legacy habits good or in place at least? So really what you want to do is just make sure that you're yes on all of these. even if you are doing things that are very, very different to what I talk about here, whatever works for you is great. If it's getting you the results, keep doing it and improve upon it. But you want to make sure that it's a yes. Yes, I like how I think about money. I like that I'm saving. I like that I'm investing and saving and not just like hoarding money because I'm a saver and I'm scared of losing on investments, right? Because you'll lose anyways in real depreciation if you leave your money sitting in the bank. So with my savings, am I saving in an appropriate way? Do I have a 3 to 6 month savings emergency fund in place? Do I have a savings strategy? Do I even really think about it? How can I make action on this area today? Do I have my budgeting tracking in place? I don't have to have like a full fancy, expensive, like really complicated budget. I don't need like really pricey budgeting apps or any of that stuff on subscription per month. I can really just budget by expense tracking what I'm spending and just do that. Or I can use a no budget budget, and we can always go through and see what kind of budget would work for us by trying a bunch, or just seeing what works for our style by discerning whether we're a saver or a spender and what is most comfortable for us and what our kind of like weak areas are. If we're a spender, we might end up spending loads on stuff because we feel like we need it. And it may be more of a want than a need. So then we can just differentiate on figure out unpacking personally why we want this random stuff or feel like we need it. And that for me is part of my journey as well, because I buy a lot of stuff and I like buying a lot of stuff. And so I am figuring out like why I want to buy this stuff. Is it for my reality me, which is the clothes that I wear? Or is it for fantasy me, who is way more stylish and wears like way cooler clothes and is also much more fit than I am. Okay. So let's be honest. She's like me like 10 years ago, but my mental health and well being is way better now, but my body fat content is higher. And back then, my body fat content was lower and I was probably more active, but my just mental health and well being was just completely shot. So, frankly, I'm happier to have a higher body fat content and better mental health because I can sort out my body fat content and be happy rather than just be like slim and unhappy and miserable, right? So, the point is that we want to know where we're at and just be happy with where we're at in each of these areas, however that works for us. So, today's topic is what is one step that you can take today in your money life? One money step you can take today. What is one money step that you can take today? Now, in this area, we'll have a million money steps we can take, right? But the fact is that if we have a million money areas that we can take steps in, we will take steps in none of them. None, zero. We'll be like, oh yeah, there's like 5 money areas I could totally take steps in right now. Like I could do my will, I could do this, I could do that. It's like, yeah, we could do a whole bunch of things. I could go for a hike. I live like in Hong Kong on a mountain. So yeah, I could go on a hike and like suddenly get really fit and be a really fit person. It's not gonna happen, my friend. I'm not gonna go for that hike. I'm not gonna go up that hill. I don't want to. I don't like hiking. I'm sorry, everyone who likes hiking. I don't like hiking. Since a child, I didn't like hiking, and I don't like hiking as an adult. And I've just tried. I've hiked up like the 4th highest mountain in Hong Kong like 5 times. I don't like it. I don't like it any of the times that I have done it. I have done it a few times, enough times to be like, maybe this time I'm gonna like it. I didn't like it. I didn't like it that time. I'm not gonna like it this time. I don't like it anytime. So I know it's not gonna happen. There are just some things that if we're like, oh yeah, I could totally do this and this and this and this, they're not gonna happen. What we have to do is say, what can I do right now that I am gonna do? Right? Like right now, I have been eating quite a lot of chip things, like chip crisps type things. And I could replace them with walnuts today, which I wanted to do, but we didn't have any walnuts. So I put walnuts on the shopping list. That is one thing that I could do in the direction of that outcome of getting fitter, right? I'm not going to go hiking. What would I do? I would sit on the rowing machine. I would start slow. I would work up. I would row up to like 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever it is, over time, working up to it. What am I going to actually do, not what would I theoretically, like my fantasy self, who's wearing these like fashionable clothes that are like frills and like fashion. Like, it's just no, 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 no. I don't wear those clothes. I have the same clothes in like 10 pieces each item. Like, I have 10 of these, and then I have 10 of them in black, and then I have 10 of like a high neck version with like 3/4 sleeves because I'm always rolling my sleeves up. I'm like, damn, why don't I even buy stuff that has sleeves anymore? The sleeves always rolled up like this. Like, I'm like 3/4 sleeves are my thing. I roll sleeves up. It needs to be simple. Otherwise, I'm just, if it's like you have to kind of try and figure out how to wear it, not for me, Jen. So I know what is going to work for me. Most of us do, because we can look at what we're doing now and ask, what is one money step we can take today from what I'm doing now? What we theoretically like to do or be like or have super abilities to suddenly be able to do, right? Like suddenly invest really, really well, or suddenly be like saving like half of our income every month. What are you doing now? And what's the next step? Because those things that we think, yeah, I'll do that, that is the outcome and the goal that we're working towards. It's not the step that we're taking today. Because if we take one step today, we're not going to land at that. We're not going to land in one day from not investing to being super at investing. And our brain is really over enthusiastic like this. So it will think that we can totally do it because it can imagine it. And look, we're going to be talking about a lot of psychology and tying in those psychological neuroscience, neuropsychology methods in throughout all of the videos of Money Mind, because I'm really into that area and I love applying it throughout the learning to make things even easier, because I'm lazy and I like neuro hacks and making things more applicable in my life in a lazier way. So, neuro hacks, behavioral hacks, anything that will make it easier to implement stuff in my life is what I'm going to be interested in. And psychology and brain hacking is the way to do that for me. So, here we're going to talk about a lot of that type of stuff. But first, it's really important to know our brain is a child and we are the adult. Okay. Now, if we think of it in that way, it can be easier to counsel ourselves through doing things. Imagine you doing something that you don't want to do. You got to counsel you, yay, let's do the thing. And child you, brain, don't want. Why? Why? Give me candy. I want something nice. I don't want to do that. That seems weird. It's uncomfortable. I'm not in. I'll just leave me alone. You got to try and counsel that child part of your brain and your adult self to do it like together. So there's brain, whose main motivation is to keep you safe, stick to what you're currently doing, and do that for like the rest of your life and just keep you safe. So that's fine if you're getting the results you want to be getting and you're totally cool with all the results in your life right now. You've aced it, you're done. You're like, I've got no more growth to do. I'm amazing. This is solid. I'm investing. I got my money mindset sorted. I got my savings sorted, my budgeting sorted, my investing sorted, and my wills and legacies are done, man. I'm on it. Okay, this is not going to be like the series for you. If you're like super on it, you're on it, man. Please share the word and help other people to be more like you. However, if you're like the rest of us, then there will be parts of these pillars, money mindsets, savings, budgeting, investing, wills, and legacy, that you do not have sorted. And you could improve a little bit in. Like maybe you could just save a little bit more. Or maybe you're saving really well, but you're like, are there areas that I'm sort of spending a bit more because of stress, or because like I'm drinking a lot of wine because I'm tired after work, or like, are there areas I could just question, not take any action about, just question? Are there areas in any of these areas, or yes, areas within the areas, very inception, areas within the areas that I could question, is this necessary? Do I want to be doing this? Do I want to be having a glass of wine every day after work? Is that cool, or is it like now a bottle? And it's like really expensive wine, and or maybe like 2 bottles, and then but like a friend came around, and then I opened a bottle and then I had to finish it, so like that's totally fine. Look at the numbers. What do they rack up to? Are you cool with that? If you're okay with that, fine, awesome, yay. If you're like, ooh, that's like 20 bottles of wine in 2 weeks, then maybe you're like, do I want to be that person? Is that me? Is that the person that I am? I'm like, 20 bottles of wine in 2 weeks is super cool. That's fine. That's super fun for me. I love it. If you're like, oh, wow, I didn't know I was doing that, then that can be a question for you to dig into separately. But the awareness is key. I watched part of the Book of Boba Fett last night, and there was an amazing quote that I'm totally going to butcher by the like steel worker lady whose name I don't know, and she is like, it's constantly standing around with these like tools for no reason, and she's like, oh, if you do the same thing without insight, you will get the same result. Okay, that was, I like wrote it down and everything. It was so cool. If you try and do the same thing, right, without any different insight, you'll get the same result. So you try and make a change in your money life, or you try and do something different in your money life, but you don't have any insight into why you're changing or why you're doing it, you'll just slip back and you'll end up getting the same results. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, my insight today, my just one insight is that I don't need to do it all. I'm just going to do one thing, one money step that I can take today that is next to where I am. That's my insight. That I don't need to do it all. I don't need to achieve anything big. I don't need to even try for anything big. I can try for the smallest thing possible. And that's my insight. I'm going to do that. Today, I'm going to think about this slightly differently. I'm going to do something slightly differently. I'm going to think about making a change in my money life by doing one teeny tiny thing and then seeing how it goes from there. So what is one money step that you can do today? Some examples. Let's go through. So just off the top of my head, can you, if you are not expense tracking or budgeting, right? And for me, sometimes I like a challenge. So sometimes I'll be like, okay, if I'm new to this area, I'll go in as easy as possible, right? Choose, say, one of these 5 pillars: money mindsets, savings, budgeting, investing, wills, and legacy. Choose one of these 5 areas and say, okay, which one am I most comfortable with? If I'm new to this and I'm like a bit nervous, which one of these 5 areas, money mindsets, savings, budgeting, investing, wills, and legacy, which ones that I'm most comfortable with? What's one step I can take in that area, right? So savings, say if I'm really comfortable with savings and I'm like, okay, so I'm saving quite a lot. Can I look at other areas that I may be spending a little bit much? Can I consider if I can increase my savings at all? Or can I look at my savings area and just make sure that I am clean in all the areas? I've got my 3 to 6 month emergency fund. I have savings stashed away somewhere that is earning some interest, and then, I've got like savings that are like, I've got my insurances in place. I've got all of that ticked off. If I'm really comfortable in that area, then I can really make sure that the next step that I take is just to ensure that this area is as good as I think it is, and it's all set and certain. Now, if you want to do like what I would tend to do, if I'm a bit more comfortable in an area, I would go directly for the least comfortable area, okay? Because that is where you're going to feel it and notice, oh, I'm addressing an area that doesn't feel good to me. And this is brave and courageous, and I am doing this. I am nailing it. It's one thing that I've been avoiding. Say it's investing. So say I'm amazing at savings, for example. and I save and I tick off that area. I'm like, one money step I can take today. Now, say I apply this to the next area. Sorry, for tomorrow. So I've said, okay, I'm amazing at savings. And my one money step that I'm going to take today is just checklist around my savings that it is amazing and it's all in place. Yes, I've done that. It is all in place, just off the top of my head. I've got my savings, emergency fund, everything is set up. It is done. I have made a little checklist of the things that I could have needed to do, and they're all sorted. Done. That's my one thing today. Now, if we're going to go through and take steps, we would want to go, if we're new to this, we'd want to go like from the most comfortable to the next least uncomfortable, and then work towards the most uncomfortable one. Or we could dive right into the most uncomfortable one if we really want to feel like we've made a change, and we could dive straight into like investing. So if we're that active saver person and we don't have any investments because we prefer saving and we are a bit nervous about the risk and losing money and things like that, one step that we could take today as a saver who just saves a lot of money and doesn't invest could be to read a blog about it. Just read a blog, read thebalance.com, read Get Rich Slowly. If you're a saver, the blog Get Rich Slowly would probably be a good one to read because it's such a conservative Get Rich Slowly type blog that talks about doing things in a low risk way that has a high reward for the little action that you do take. So I love that blog. It's really good in terms of calm, boring, you can do this, anyone can do this, why not just try doing this kind of advice, right? It's not like fast paced crypto, NFTs, what are you missing out on? That energy is not for you, Jen. Like, if hiking is not for me, that energy, if you are a saver who doesn't have any investing, you do not want to be like following things that are going to make you feel more freaked out. You want to follow things that are going to make you feel less freaked out. Warren Buffett quotes, get rich slowly, things like that, things that are like Zen habits, like that type of thing that has the energy that already feels good to you. So follow areas that feel good to you and then try something that is a little uncomfortable, but in an area that kind of like is in a way that is not uncomfortable. So you don't need to suddenly start taking crazy action. Please do not take any action based on any of these videos, okay? This is just information, not advice. But you need to feel comfortable with what you're doing. And the way to do that is to take steps to educate yourself in that area. Back to neuropsychology, your brain will want everything to prove that it is safe because your brain's systems are built to keep you safe. That's why you're alive. That's why if you've touched fire, you know not to touch fire anymore. That's what our brain does, okay? It's like, fire bad, do not do again. Otherwise, we just bumble through being burnt all the time, being like, oh, I forgot about fire being bad. It's so pretty. I want to touch it. So that's what our brain does. And really, thank you, brain. It is there to keep us safe. It makes us remember things like cross both ways before you move. Whoa, look both ways before you cross the road. That was such a spinnerism. Brush your teeth so you don't get all your teeth fall out, and like gum toxicity and blood poisoning. Did you know that was like I can't remember, like a Georgian or something times, it was like one of the biggest normal average, like not the plague, like killers of people. It was blood infections from tooth infections. So you'd have these like registers of like the deaths in a village or in a county or whatever, and it would show like this many people died from tooth infections. So we've learned how to brush our teeth to look after ourselves to stay alive, so that now people generally don't really die from like tooth infections that cause blood infections. I don't know if that type of thing is called septicemia, but if or septicemia is slightly different. But the point is, we have learned things to keep us safe now, and our brain holds onto them and remembers them, and is like our little safety child. It's like, okay, we will keep you safe. We'll be fine. You know, I will remember the things and keep you. It's like a hyper vigilant child. It's like, I remember the things. You have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this, not touch fire. Yeah. So do what is a little bit scary, but in a comfortable way. So if you're a saver who likes to save lots of money, but you're a bit nervous to invest, you might want to try just looking into blogs or educating yourself or something in an area that is also comfortable to you, but about the uncomfortable topic. Does that make sense? So you want to look into taking a step, taking that one money step in that direction today in an area that's uncomfortable to you, but in a way that is not going to cause you a lot of discomfort. So you're not going to jump into trying to follow crazy, fast paced day trading investment advice. That's not for you. This is self awareness as well. And this will help us to be able to build our confidence, because all confidence really is just us knowing ourselves and sticking to what really resonates and works for us, given our genuine truths. Okay, this is not, it's a complicated area, obviously, but there will be things that we are reactive to because of things that we've gone through in our lives and things, judgments, beliefs, and things like that we have. And there are other things that are kind of true for us that we can feel like we love connecting with other people. Even if we're introverts, we like being alone and we love being alone, but we still want to have that genuine connection with people and feel loved and feel connected and feel genuine friendships, like we feel understood. These types of things, wanting to feel understood, wanting to feel like healthy, like we can move around and take care of ourselves, wanting to share and interact with other people. There are a lot of truths that are just within us. And for our personal and unique personalities, we will also have certain truths. Like, I don't like hiking. No matter how much I've tried, no matter how much everyone around me likes hiking, no matter how much people tell me I will like hiking or talk about how they like hiking, I just don't. And that's just a truth for me. And I can keep trying to change that truth about myself. But the fact is, I don't like it. And once I accept that about myself, once I accept that if I'm a saver who's nervous about investing, then it's best for me to look into educating myself about investing in saver, safe type ways, then that will be so much easier to implement. And I will more likely learn things that I can take action on in investing. So, knowing our style, type, truths, like, if we feel like we're such a extravagant, outgoing person, but really our actions are saving conservatively and hoarding money, then sometimes the person we think we are and the actions that we take that we actually are very different. Like, for example, if I was to think that I was like a really fit person, but I'm sitting around eating bags of crisps and never exercising, then that's a little bit of a disconnect, right? Between what I think I am, because, maybe I row for like 10 minutes a day, and then what I'm actually doing, right? And the thing is, they can also be both. I can also be a person who wants to be fit while taking actions that are not very fit aligned. And that's okay, as long as I know it, as long as I'm aware that this is what's happening, because then I can say, oh yeah, I totally like love doing my exercise and I can increase that, but I also love eating my crisps. So I'm just going to do both of those things. Like, do I need to have one or the other? It's a no. You don't need to just save or just invest or be really good at any of this. You really don't need to be good at any of this. All you need to do is learn as much as you can and become confident. Because when you're confident, you will be able to learn more and make decisions that you are confident with. And whether they are great or whether they lose money or whether they are kind of like in the middle, you will still feel like, I did this. This was my choice, and I am learning on this path, and I am confident and comfortable with that, win or loss. And investing and this whole money world, there will always be wins and losses. It's never black and white. It will be both. constantly happening in many different areas of the world and life, and being comfortable with that, that it's not just all wins or all losses, is really important. So knowing ourselves, knowing our confidence, knowing our style is what's going to make us feel like we can take steps in any direction and be okay with it. Know that that's on us. So, hi, Michael. How are you? Thanks for joining. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Hi. So, what we want to do is ask, what is one money step that we can take today? Can you go over to moneymind.global and try the free samplers? They're 10 minutes. Can you sandwich them in between two other tasks? Like when you're on a bus, getting on the bus, you just start the free samplers, 10 minutes, and then you get off the bus. Can you sandwich it then? Can you just do a free sampler while you're drinking your morning coffee, right? Where can you implement one money step of action that you can take to get it today? Is it educating yourself in an area? Is it making sure that your money mindsets or savings or budgeting or investing or wills and legacy are stable or covered? Is it taking one step in any of those areas? Is it doing the money mind pillar that's now out and doing a full hour, not necessarily in one go, but you can go on and off anytime with no expiry? But is it doing a 1 hour pillar over at moneymind.global that's out now, just saying, okay, I'm going to spend 1 hour today educating myself on money mindsets. I'm going to take a pen and paper or my phone and notebook. I'm going to write whatever it is that I learn about this course. And that's 1 hour that I've taken one step in a direction that is useful or helpful to me in my money life. What is one step you can take? It doesn't have to be big. It can be tiny. It can be thinking about an area that you've been avoiding. It can be considering other options. It can be sending out an email to ask somebody for information about something. But first step that we want to do in this area is just move in that direction. Once we start moving, it will be easier to keep taking that one next step tomorrow. So that saver who takes that one step today could potentially try taking a step in maybe another area that's more comfortable to them, like their wills and legacy. Is that done? Yes or no? Yes, it's all sorted. Just using this as an action step. Can I use this 5 pillars as an action checklist to say, is my money mindsets sorted? Is my saving sorted? Is my budgeting sorted? Investing sorted? Wills and legacy sorted? Use this as a framework checklist and say, is this one money step I can take today? Just check against that checklist. Do whatever works for you and whatever you can do today, because you don't have to be setting aside big amounts of time to do any of this. Your money life is happening right now. You're in it. You're living it. You're going to spend money today somehow, whether that is using electricity or buying a coffee or eating dinner or whatever it is. That is money that is flowing in and out of your life. It's there. Just ignoring it doesn't make it not there. So when we are actually implementing more, not big thoughts about money, but just more acceptance of the fact that money is flowing in and out of our lives, we can start to ask ourselves, what's one small thing that I can do about this area that's already there in my life, right? It's not like suddenly getting really fit. That can sometimes require quite a big change from the habits we already have, but quite dramatically. This one, we can start really, 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 really small. It's more like developing a healthy lifestyle than it is just getting fit. Getting fit requires moving a lot more than we've currently been moving. Developing a healthy lifestyle can be replacing my crisps with walnuts today, and then taking small steps towards the direction that I'd like to go and incrementally increasing. And that's what we want to be doing, which is why today I'm asking, what is one money step that you can take today? You can do it right now. You can do it while you're watching this. You can just do it and say, okay, I did that. It took 1 minute and I'm done. That's one money step. and then maybe you'll want to do more. Maybe you'll want to expand on it. Maybe you want to do another one tomorrow. Maybe you'll want to try our free samplers or follow, like, or share. Whatever works for you is what matters, because what is relevant and works for you is what you will implement in your life and what will make change occur if you want change to be happening, to benefit you and make sure that you and your money are comfortable in your life so that you can do whatever it is that you love most, whether that's spend time with family, travel, live purposefully, work passionately. Money's there to serve you. So, how can we help you feel more confident with money so that it serves you as best it can? That's all. That's what MoneyMind is created to help do. That's what our broadcasts and our free samplers and our paid pillars are here to help you to do. And we hope that you will go over to moneymind.global, try the free samplers, try the paid pillar if you like. We're doing money mindsets this month, very patiently working through just money mindsets. And then next month, it will be the pillar of savings that will be launched. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I will be back tomorrow and Wednesday for more broadcasts. Really fun to see you and very grateful for all of the comments anywhere that you leave, any likes, follows, or shares as well. I'm Raven, founder of MoneyMind Financial Literacy Social Enterprise, and I will see you next time.